Hello and welcome back to Controller Wars. It's round 3 of this hardware test to find out what is the best Gran Turismo Sport control scheme. We're at the Brands Hatch GP layout. It's going to be a 7-lap shootout. Before we start, let's have a look at the standings after 2 rounds. The DualShock 3 is leading the way. PowerA Xbox One controller straight after it, the PDP Afterglow Xbox 360 controller in 3rd, and the GameSir T4W has slipped to 4th place. They're the big contenders right now. Also the fastest wheel at the moment is the Logitech G29 driving force, which I think was pretty much expected. So we're going to stick with the DualShock 3, which of course the PlayStation Legends team through the first sector, because that was the car that won the previous race at Lago Maggiore, and it was very dominating. And once we get the first sector times, don't read into them too much. The first lap will be a lot of jostling. What have we got there? So the Logitech G29, actually the fastest car to that first sector, and the Nintendo and GameSir close behind. But that's just the first few seconds of the test. There we go, the GameSir starting to assert itself. The Logitech completely dropping off the board, as you'd expect. With wheels, you tend to have a situation where the device is more consistent than the controllers, although controllers seem to really put in those hot laps better. The GameSir we're used to seeing at the top, and the PDP as well. But Logitech climbing back up, but the GameSir already 1.5 seconds faster than anything else in the field, over just half a lap, which is crazy, but it does show the device's accuracy and control. Still, it's nice to see the Logitech putting some fast sectors in. It's something we've not seen so far in this test, really. Will it be that way when it crosses the finish line? I'm about to find out. Yep, so the fastest car in the first lap was the Logitech, putting in a 1:23.3. You've got to assume that's going to be beaten severely. The PowerA, we've seen it up top. Oh, as the Hori loses it. That's of course the Hori RWA Racing Wheel Apex. Losing it under braking. The car we're watching now is the PowerA car, which we're used to seeing at the top. Something terrible's happened to the Logitech. That's clearly had a moment because it's down in 10th now. That's probably involved the Paddock Hill runoff. Oh, speaking of runoff, there's the GameSir, which was doing really well on that lap, completely destroying the lap. You can see that the tyres are still dirty even now. That's really bad luck. PDP, of course, doing well in this test. Currently 3/10 behind the PowerA controller. The Afterglow controllers, of course, very popular, that are made by PDP. Don't write off this Hori RWA. It's not doing bad for a sub £100 wheel. I think it's impressed a few people. And in 5th at the moment, which isn't bad. It's top half of the field. PowerA there smashing the fastest lap by over a second. That's 1:22.19. This is the PowerA car. Ooh, a little messy under braking there. But this is a controller that can really pump in some fast times. We definitely saw that in the first 2 rounds. Check out 3rd place, Razer. That is the Razer Black Widow keyboard. So we have a keyboard in 3rd place at the moment. Oh no, that's just fallen. No, that's not fallen, it's gone up to 2nd. That's a surprise. Currently watching the Xbox, we were watching the Xbox 360. Now back to watching the PowerA, which is powering through this circuit. 3.5 seconds ahead of the PlayStation Legends team. That's phenomenal. There's really no way of calling it though in the midfield, because different cars trade in different fastest sectors. But up front, unless something terrible happens to the PowerA car, that is looking like a win at the moment already. Cross the line, we go to start lap 4. The timing. Oh, so the DualShock 3 is actually caught up a little bit. The Power Ray going faster than previously, but the PlayStation Legends car going even faster by a tenth, 121.73. Great to see the Nintendo car up there in third. That's the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, version 1, which has managed to get ahead of the GameSir controller in fourth, the PDP in fifth, Xbox 360 in sixth, which is the Microsoft Xbox 360 controller. Razer's still doing a great job of being ahead of both wheels, as well as the Hori Mini wired controller and the DualShock 4, so that's really impressive for a keyboard. The Xbox 360 there gaining ground on the PDP. But this is the car that's fastest on the track right now. It's the Nintendo, and what's really surprising about that is that the Switch Pro controller has digital bumpers rather than the analog bumpers used by most of the other controllers in the field. So in fact getting power down can be quite tricky with this controller. It looks like Brandsatch just suits that layout. We said at the start of this competition, all those weeks ago, that there could be a situation where certain tracks lend themselves to certain controllers and vice versa, and this is a fine example of that, with the GameSir just over 5 seconds behind the Power A, but clearly ahead of everything else in the field, including the DualShock 3, which is dropping down the order at the moment as the Nintendo climbs closer. Is it going to be a contender for the win? Is that even possible against the Power A? Back with that DualShock 3, or the 6-axis, whichever way you want to name it. But look at that, the Nintendo just took 3 seconds out of the Power A, clearly the Power A having a bit of an excursion off the track. Could it win? Time will tell. The Power A, of course, now back on it and pulling half a second away from the Nintendo. It could be nip and tuck. It could be all the way to the line. Of course, it might not be. About to start the penultimate lap already. So there we go. The Nintendo Switch Pro controller putting in the fastest lap of the race, a 121.54, which was over 2 seconds faster than that lap from the Power A. Very impressive. When we cross this first time beacon, there we go, 2.5 seconds behind. So yeah, if the Power A has another excursion off track, Nintendo could certainly leapfrog them for the win. Watching the game, so down in 6th, not a place we used to see in that T4W. We're used to seeing it up here where the Power A is, in the lead. Third place car, Xbox 360, almost 11 seconds down. That shows a massive field spread for this particular event. Right, down at the back of the field, the Hori Racing Wheel Apex is actually beating the Logitech 29 as the PDP Afterglow almost loses it. It was a great save. About to start the final lap. And Nintendo hang on to that fastest lap accolade. Nobody went any faster. But this does look like it's the Power race to lose. Having said that, there was a little bit of an off there. Wasn't a big one. It certainly allowed the Nintendo cars to pull back half a second. And the the Xbox 360 controllers also pulled up a little bit. Oh, but it's gone. There's been some sort of an issue with the 360 controller, which has put the DualShock 3 back into third place. But there's really not far to go now. Power A's almost home, having virtually not put a wheel wrong. It's certainly kicked up some dust here and there. But the Nintendo is in hot pursuit. That Switch Pro controller really showing some accuracy during this test. The finish line is just around the next right-hander. There it comes. And then we're going to get to see just how all the controllers perform. There we go. That is a definite win there for the Power A. Nintendo in second. That's the DualShock 3 in third, followed by the GameSir and then the Microsoft Xbox 360 controller. The Razer keyboard there coming in ahead of the DualShock 4 and the Hori Junior. Fastest lap of the race was by the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which is very impressive. Then the DualShock 3, which we're used to seeing up there, the Power A, GameSir and Xbox 360 controllers all doing sub 122s. Most consistent controller was the Power A, and then the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Hori Junior, even though it was right at the back of the field, was a very consistent controller. So that's really impressive. Let's have a look at where this puts us in the standings then. So the fastest laps at the moment seems to be the DualShock 3 is the fastest lapper, followed by the Power A and the GameSir. Nintendo and PDP looking threatening in 4th and 5th respectively. Most consistent cars are the Power A. And look at the Hori Junior and the DualShock 3, so that's the Hori Mini Wide controller. Level pegging there with Nintendo and PDP coming up behind. Overall standings, DualShock 3 and Power A now joint at top. GameSir moving up 1 place, Nintendo moving up 2, PDP dropping 2. So there's still everything to play for, lots of points left, 2 more rounds to go. I hope you join us for those rounds so we can find out just what the best Gran Turismo control scheme is. Until then, like if you like, subscribe if you want, and if you don't, I promise I won't take it personally. Thanks for joining me. Bye bye for now.